Waiting for the countdown. 2, 1. It's Friday. It's episode 165. It's Chocy Chat. It is the 28th. It's the 28th of January. It's the last day of the month. If anybody can tell me where 2024 went, that'd be really helpful, because I've no idea where 2024 went. It's literally gone by, isn't it? And it's the end of January already. But happy Friday. Happy Chocy Chat. How is everybody doing? I've sent some waves out. Grange Chocolates, how are you? Chocolate Sorcery. Seen you for a while, but hello, welcome. I'm back in my normal habitat. It's been a busy week. We arrived Sunday, Heathrow. I think it was 5 or 6 degrees, freezing cold at the airport, with the girls looking at me going, "What have you done? Why isn't it warm? Why has it gone cold?" But anyway, back to where I normally belong, right? In my happy place. This is my happy room, right? Mo the Baker, how are you? Paula, I can see. Paula, how's life in the new kitchen? I think you're probably really enjoying it, right? Bridget, hello. Philip Vieira. Philip is in Austria. Gina, Surf Leg Chocolates. How you doing, Gina? Nettie there, I can see, in Denmark, I think. Yeah, if I can find 2024, yeah, let me know. I don't know where 2024 went. It absolutely went flying by. I was just looking at the episode from January, and I was telling everybody. So I think the 3rd episode in January last year, I was telling everybody, make sure we got your notes together. Think about Christmas. What did you do? It seems like a moment away. It literally feels like a moment away, and it's the end of January. It's the last day of January today, believe it or not. Oh no, she's got Mo the Baker's got the lurgy, lost her voice. Oh, that's not good, isn't it? Although there might be people around you that are happy you've lost your voice. It's probably not a nice thing to say, is it? So, Nadia's Chocolates. Hello, Nadia. Nadia, I think Rania's going to message you in a minute and just schedule a talk with you about something. So, we need some positive energy here on our continent. I think everybody needs a little bit of positive energy. This is why I like Chocy Chat. Do you know, Rani just said to me outside, Mrs. So Sassy said to me, she didn't cough. What she said to me is, in June, it'll be 4 years of Chocy Chat. 4 years. 4 years, nearly every Friday. I've missed a few. But 4 years of Chocy Chat in June. And June's going to come round like you can't believe, right? Chocy Chat page is brilliant. Some really, really good stuff posted there now. Gathering momentum. There's more and more people joining. I've had to cuff a few over comments, but I normally get to those, or people grass them up, so that's fine. It needs to be a positive place, right? It has to be a positive place. I truly don't have time for negative. I just don't. I'm too busy. Busy boy, right? So is everybody else. We all need positivity, without doubt. So, Sydney Williams, that's Leanne, I think. Hello. Stuart there, Blind Chocolate. He's a very busy boy, isn't he? Just always busy, isn't he? New Boucher, I think it is. New Boucher. Hello. Temper. New Zealand. Harriet, how are you? Who else have we got? Andrew, Styling Chocolates. We've got Linda, Art in Chocolate. Andrew's up in Aberdeen. Linda is in... You're in New Jersey. I was going to say Connecticut, but I think it's New Jersey that you're in. So Melissa, it's one of my favourite chocolates. Melissa, the panning stuff that you did this week, hands down the best I've ever seen. So she's saying it's cold up there. Do you know there is? Here's a negative opinion, but I've got to say that we travel lots and we see lots of different airports. And it's really lovely going and arriving in all these other airports. When you get back to Heathrow, it's got to be the most miserable place on the planet, isn't it? Absolutely. Rania and I were looking around going, why is all the money being spent then? They keep pumping millions into Heathrow Airport, and we're like, where's it gone? What? Absolutely, it's a horrible place. Matthew, how are you? Have you got, Erin, have you got bad storms where you are again, I think? So, Jamila is in Oman. I know Oman. I was in Muscat and Nizwa. Nizwa's a very pretty place in Oman. I'd like to go back to Oman. I'd really love to go back to Oman. There were bits of Bahrain that reminded of Oman, because I think the other Emirates, the other Emirati countries, nothing wrong with them whatsoever, but everywhere you go, it's just giant, tall buildings, like reaching up to the sky. And Oman has kept its culture, but it's also kept its kind of cultural identity, because there's no really tall buildings. And whilst Bahrain still had some of the tower blocks, nothing like some of the Emirates. So I kind of rather like that. It's kind of modern, but with a touch of class, right? Somebody's going to come back to me from Dubai and go, no, you're wrong. So it's the Six Nations this weekend. Yes, it is. If you're into rugby, I'll be watching that. I'm looking forward to watching England not do well as usual. Hey ho. Coco Lily there in Florida. How are you? Billy there, Scottish Chocolates. Emma, ES Chocolates down in Sydney, I think. So Paula's loving her kitchen. Howdy Billy. I want all the colours around you. You can have them. The website was open while we were away. We were only away 10 days, but it felt like longer. I think it felt like longer because I was there in December and came back and then went back out again. So we left the website open and we got back Sunday night and it was like, right, let's start work. And all I've done non-stop is make colours or label colours. That's all I've done for the last 4 or 5 days. I had a little class earlier with a young lady in Florida talking about easy temper and melting tanks and options to scale up. So that was a nice one. All the classes are back on now as well, by the way. All the classes are back there, so we can get back to scheduling. I think that there's more orders piling through now. I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm thankful. These are all fully topped up now, so I think there's everything in stock. And I need to do white, which we are always doing anyway. But yeah, that was a slog this weekend. So you come back from a break and you're like, right, but I think the first morning back I started at 5 a.m. and then the next morning it was 6 a.m. Tough at the top, innit, right? I'd rather be doing this than my other job, though, my job that I used to do. So, g'day, are we ready for the 14th? Is everybody ready for the 14th? It's Valentine's Day, isn't it? Let me just get some of these things out of the way. Is everybody ready for the 14th? Should be a busy day. And the next one after that for us really is Easter. And I think Mother's Day. In the UK we have Mother's Day around about Easter time. I can't remember the date of it. I should know the date of it, but I don't know the date of it. Hashim, wa alaikum salam. How are you? Evening from Cyprus. It's the last night of your holiday, Evelyn. That's a long holiday, Evelyn, isn't it? I think it's like a couple of weeks, 3 weeks. Harriet's saying 4 years has flown by. 4 years in June for Chocy Chat. Very proud of what Chocy Chat is. Do you know, it's very strange, right? I don't feel like I'm the owner of Chocy Chat. I am Chocy Chat crew, right? It's very difficult to explain that. People answer things, people write things, people ask questions, people write stuff. I read them. Go, well, that's an interest. I admire different perspectives on things as well. I think that's unique. Sometimes I see things that are answered, maybe not in a way that I would answer it, but then also I see things written down as answers, and I think I'd have answered that exactly the same. So it's really encouraging. It's really encouraging. I think also for me, I think the word stimulating. It's very stimulating to read fantastic responses to questions. Because I see the same question asked on another forum, they just get slated. So I'm rather proud of what Chocy Chat's become, and everybody that's in it. So my mum is in West Texas. Hello, Lisa Sargent. Hi from Sheffield. First time watching live, Lisa. You're welcome, and thank you for ordering during the week. I did send you, Lisa. I answered on the Chocy Chat. Your airbrush. Let me grab an airbrush, and I'll just explain something quickly. Chesty cough for some reason. If you're airbrushing and it's splattering a little bit, I answered this on the page. We've got on the very front there's just what's called an air cap. Okay, so it all that does is funnel the air. Airbrushes spray like a cone, so the further you get away, the bigger the disc, and it comes through to so it sprays as a cone. The next one we got is the needle housing. Okay, if the needle housing is loose, you're probably just going to get no pressure come out. So we press down for air, and you will get no butter come out, but nothing come up the cup. I think it's really important. So we've taken the air cover off, the needle cap. Okay. The needle cap, and the next one behind that's the needle housing. Very often if you press down for air and you get nothing coming out, it's going to be this one, this very first one, or the second one if it's the second one with the little rubber seal, and that's quite common across all dual action airbrushes. So we press down for air and get air only. It's only when we pull the trigger back that we would get the needle gets pulled back, and the pressure coming up through the hose pushes the cocoa butter out, or paint, whichever you want to call it. The other thing that I answered on there is sometimes when you get these new and this gets screwed in all the way, okay, when that gets screwed in all the way, you can press down for air, but the trigger doesn't come back. And I've lost count of how many times people have sent me a video and said, when I press down I get air, but when I press down on the trigger I get no paint. And I say, like, just undo this bit a little bit, that trigger will not come back, right? If I put that one in all the way, that trigger will not come back. If I just loosen it, it will go back all the way, right? So it's just a limiter. The amount of times that I say to people, can you just undo this bit on the end? And they're like, oh, you fixed it. If you're stuck, send me a video, don't try and describe it. What I call the bits on here and what you call them are very, very different things. I will try and help. But if you send me a message and it says the thingy job on the front of the thingy doesn't pull back when I do the thingy, it doesn't mean anything to me at all. Send me a video. If I can see how it's spraying, I'll probably get the answer within the first 3 seconds. I've been playing with these for 35, 40 years. So I know what they can do. I know what they can do, and I know what they can't do, and I've come to recognise what the problems are, kind of visually and sound as well, right? So, Belfast Airport is the worst. It's such a dump. I'm going to say something controversial now. When you arrive at Heathrow Airport, Rani's going to run in a minute and go, no. When you arrive at Heathrow Airport, there are these team members that are dressed in, I think they're purple, could be blue. I think they're purple t-shirts. And the idea is that they point you to where's all you can be. But this guy came up to me and he said, how is your water? And I was like, you just got off a 6-hour flight or 6.5-hour flight. It's like, how is your water? I'm like, my water? Yeah, how is your water? It's like, mate, I don't know what I don't understand. How is your water? And yeah, how is your water? I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. He was trying to ask how old is your daughter? Not my hearing, but it's like, wow, you're here to help passengers and I don't understand you. So welcome to Heathrow. I'm not flying the flag for British travel, am I at all? But yeah, just kind of like, wow. Think it's real chocolate. Thinking of making protein chocolate bars. Chocolate's quite good in protein anyway, and vitamin D and vitamin A. So if you're going to do the filling that's high protein, yeah, go for it. Why not? There's a market for everything, right? I was on a call earlier with somebody who does the CBT oils. I don't know. Unless I know nothing about that, we're not allowed to do that here in the UK. There it's licensed, it's absolutely free, but we were looking at the formulas of chocolate and discussing that and just what the parameters are, and we were talking about, how the chocolate morphism is where the chocolate changes state as it goes through, as it gets diluted and oiled down. So quite a fascinating area. I don't know if it's something that I would take part in, but it's certainly fascinating when you look at how big that market is for the CBD oil type. So there's room for everything. If you want to put protein in chocolate bars and market and sell that, go for it, right? I would love to go to Oman if we can get enough students, without a doubt. Ron's Bonbons, how are you doing, Ron? Ron, give me an update. I haven't spoken to you for ages, and we need to catch up on I'm not going to say Alexa music. It's going to turn on now, isn't it? It's not. Alexa, quiet. There we go. Karak tea too, Mrs. So Sassy. We're all drinking Karak tea. Very, very nice. Flying Banana, he's just moved house. What a beautiful chocolate studio he has got. Linda's saying she's got all the colours around me. I know. I've seen your work as well. It's absolutely stunning. So I'm just going to send some waves out. Are they kosher? No, they're not kosher. They're halal. We don't certificate against kosher products. We don't see that on products here in the UK. It's just unseen. It's just not a thing here at all. Why do you strain your caramel? I don't know anyone else who does that. Couple of reasons. A couple of very good reasons. Temper dot temper, and you're going to go, oh yeah. When you put anything through a sieve, it diffuses, and what that means is it takes the air bubbles out. When you make caramel, there's a lot of air bubbles in it. If you pour the caramel through a strainer, through a fine strainer or a fine sieve, you will remove all the air bubbles in one go. And the other thing is, when you're caramelizing chocolate, occasionally you can get caramelizing sugar. Occasionally you can get a couple of hard lumps in there. So we will make a dry caramel. We will take it to the right temperature. We'll deglaze it with the cream, and then we will make that base caramel. I strain it from a food safety perspective. I strain it from the perspective of like quality control, because very often we got the chocolate in a bowl, cold chocolate in a bowl, and then we will pour the chocolate over the top through a strainer, and it solves a couple of problems. But getting the air bubbles out of caramel is rather crucial. Then we'll put a stick blender in, blend the chocolate in without aerating it too much. I think it gives you a better consistency. I think it gives you a much smoother caramel. Plus, if there is anything in that pan where you made the caramel, it's going to get strained out. It's a good thing, right? Do the same thing with the cream when I make ganaches as well, right? I think it's just one of those old school. And we've got different size sieves and different micron sizes, and then the workshop where we make the butters, we've got sieves that are 50 micron and we've got sieves that are 200 micron, depending on what we're doing or depending on what we're filtering. But when I'm making mixes, if we've got spices and things in the cream, if we're doing ganache, if we've got anything that's that would need straining out, we don't kind of pick it out. What I don't want is any fibre going through or any bits and pieces that maybe shouldn't be there, right? So Gina's saying she's ready and already onto Easter. Happy days. Everybody's planning ahead of it. Has everybody made their notes for Christmas? Everybody said, let me just sit down with a bit of paper and write notes about how Christmas 2024 went. What were your volumes? What sold? What would you do different? Not what went wrong. Don't focus on what went wrong. That's already in your brain. That scrolls around already. It's a little parrot that sits on your shoulder saying you did this, this and this. Don't focus on what went wrong. Focus on what you do differently. Focus on what went really well and what would you do more of, right? But you should have made some notes and tucked them away. Do it on your phone, do it on a laptop, do it on wherever, just so it's safely stored. Because when we get round to September and October, if you had to sit down in September and October and say, what did I do last year? You will draw an absolute blank. You're like, oh no. And whilst we say the year goes really, really, really fast, when you sit down in October and say, right, how did December go last year? You're like, yeah, I've got nothing. I got nothing at all. So it's the end of January today. You should have some notes, and if you haven't, I urge you just to sit down and say, what did I purchase? What did I buy? What did I make? What did the customers like? What were the volumes like? What areas did I struggle in? If I was going to invest, would it be a bigger melting tank? Would it be more moulds? Would it be more rubber mats? Would it be a couple of airbrushes? Would it be the quick connectors? Would it be more of these? Because I know my cousins in America can't get plastic bowls, which I'm shocked about, right? I was talking to Bruce, who's in, I think he's in San Francisco area. He'll correct me if I'm wrong, but he's like, yeah, we just can't get bowls. We just can't get plastic bowls. You can get like 20 litre ones, but you can't get 2, 3, 4, 5 litre ones. So there's a market, there's a business there for somebody. Yeah, packaging. What other notes would you make for Christmas? Do you know what packaging did I use? What would I buy in advance? What do my volumes look like? It's answering those questions. Like if you could redo 2024 Christmas, how would you do it again? because that's what you're looking for next year, maybe with 20-30% extra volume on top, right? So Evelyn's saying, yeah, 2 weeks, what memory you have. Somebody asked me the other day and said, after the live that I did, how do I remember where everybody's from? I'll tell you a secret. I've not got notes in front of me. I thought that I was in the business of chocolate and cocoa butter, but I'm not. I'm in the business of people, and I'm in the business of my customers and knowing who everybody is. Sarah wants to come and show you something. Sarah wants to show you something. Say hello.
Hi.
Say hello, Chocky Chat.
Hi, Chocky Chat. So recently, I love drawing and I love
You
art.
love drawing and you love art. So what are you going to show us?
I made this giraffe.
Sarah did, hold it back so everybody can see. Sarah did a drawing of a giraffe. We like that. If I hold that there for a minute, and then that can be the screensaver when I post it. Is that good?
Yeah.
Happy days. You're an amazing, amazing artist.
I made a panda first.
Where's the panda?
The panda.
Go and find the panda. See the panda drawing is absolutely amazing. So, yeah, what was I saying? How do I remember where everybody is? Treat customers like your friends, and they will treat you like you're the king. You look after your customers. Go back, touch base, email them, stay in touch with them. You've got to go and find your market. You've got to go and find your customers, and I think that's the key to everything, right? Jason there, Napa Valley, just joined. How are you, mate? Working out of a rented kitchen and doing just pop-ups, much less work, but a bit stressful getting in. Is that, where are you, street driver? You're in Texas, aren't you? I'm sure you are. James, cake type question. Seeing lots of bakers making cream cheese because and not fridging it. My EHO says it can only be out of the fridge maximum 2 hours, including decoration delivery time. Yes, is the answer, because it's a high risk product. It's a high protein, high risk product, cream cheese. So cream cheese, piped, coloured, ice with icing sugar in it, sweetened, unsweetened, however you want to do it, it's still a high risk product. We can't have, so in terms of like UK food legislation, if we have milk out of the fridge for more than 2 hours, we have to dispose of it, right? The same would be said for cream cheese, right? 2 hours, I think the time's 4 hours. Different EHOs will have different standards that they want people within the area to adhere to, that's based on the risk of what's happened predominantly in that area, right? So they have that. Show you the panda. That's Seren's panda.
And if somebody just joined, here's my giraffe.
And a giraffe. A panda and a giraffe. You're such a clever girl.
I love drawing, so this is both what I made.
You're a superstar.
I love.
Are you going to paint
so
that in a
much.
chocolate mold?
It's my passion.
Should we paint that in a chocolate mold tomorrow?
Yeah.
Yeah, happy days.
No, I don't think I'll be able at that level.
It's all scrolled forward a bit. Wait, I have to go. I have to scroll back. Wait. God, it's all jump forward. It always does that. So there's lots of questions. Wait. Oh, it's jumped forward. I've missed a load of questions, haven't I? Bear with me a second. Scroll. Here we go. So, yeah, for cakes, cream cheese. I personally, I don't like the idea of cream cheese going into a filling.
Well, the baker was asking regarding the cream cheese, is America has the same standard?
Yeah, I haven't got to that question yet.
Yeah, because you said that you're lost like him.
Oh, okay, Franny's trying to help me keep back on track. Thank you, sweetheart. It's hard. Every now and again, it jumps to the end, and I've got to scroll back, but I've also kind of keep answering questions. So I'm trying to multitask, and I'm just not good at that. So I would, 4 hours I think is the time, but as I said, there'll be different risks in different areas, and there will be different things that have happened in different areas, which make EHOs concentrate maybe a little bit more on. They could have lots of people suddenly making cream cheese products. I've never been a big fan of it going into Ganache raw. I know it's bound up. I know there are additional sugars in there. For me, it's just a little bit of an ick because I recognise it's a high-risk product. When I say it's a high-risk product, you take a container of cream cheese and take the lid off it and leave it out at room temperature for 4 or 5 hours, you will see it spore. You'll see it spore. So that's how, that's how active it is in terms of a food source, and oxygen and warmth. It will spore mould within 5-6 hours, which is, imagine that goes into a bonbon. I'm kind of like, I don't know. I know there's chefs selling recipes with it, not my favourite, so. Right. Different, modes, different countries, different rules. Generally, most countries will follow the hazard analysis and critical control points. And the difference between what's a control point and a critical control point, it's quite diverse country to country. You look at Canada and the US with the cottage laws, and then in Canada you kind of pretty much do what you want, and if you're rural, if you're remote, you kind of do anything you want. I know people that put stuff in jars. I was in Alaska, which I know isn't Canada, but similar rules, and they've got stuff that they can things, and they'll sit it on the shelf for 10 years. It's like, how can you quantify that? Like, it's still safe, right? Water filters through mountains for millions of years, and we put it in a bottle and put 1 year on it. So I think some of the rules on best before dates were relaxed here, but every country has their own thing, right? Every country has their different things, so, and you need to adhere to the law in the country that you're in. So Lisa, was that not you? I need to go back and see who that was. So there's me. That's my memory fading, isn't it? So, Linda, you're half Cypriot. That's okay. That's a conversation for Sunday. I found my old airbrush the other night, and its 0.3 original nozzle broke off. Please, could you advise what size I can replace it with? For a beginner, I would suggest you start on a 0.8 needle. 0.8 needle. You start with this Fender airbrush, and these aren't expensive. You can find a link for all these on my highlights, right? And I think nearly everybody in Chocy chat uses this airbrush, right? I bet you 99% of the people in Chocy chat use this airbrush, right? It's very popular, and they're cheap enough to have a few. If you use a 0.8 needle, you'll be able to limit it down. Not everything will spray. So I got a question last week. Red Tech. So Red Tech is a very small micron flake in there, silicate in there, and it will spray through a 0.5. But then if you've got something like the Sparkly Rari, it probably won't go through a 0.5, it would need to go through a 0.8. So start with a 0.8, you can limit it down, but the problem is with a 0.5 you can't open it up. So I would start with a 0.8 until you fully understand the controls and the parameters that you can spray with, because with a 0.8 we can limit down what we're doing. But again, if you start with a 0.5, you're kind of stuck. You'll find that anything you put through that's a type B, so black, white, Chocy chat, through a 0.5, it will go through, but you'll need massive pressure. But then you're going to get like not overspray, but you're going to get a lot of mist go up in the air. Whereas if you sprayed with a 0.8 and turn the pressure down, you get a very good spray pattern with not lots of mist going up in the air. Overspray is a different thing, but the mist going up in the air is generally just too much pressure. It hits the mould and then bounces back, which is just too much, right? It's just too much. 0.8 always. I'd start with a 0.8, and when you get a bit more refined, I do use 0.5s. Depending on what I'm spraying, depending on the designs. It's not my go-to. My 0.5s, I take the limiter off. So the only way I know, if I've got multiple brushes in there, I will take the limiter off the back so that I can't limit down a 0.5. So it just tells me also immediately. If I find any brushes in my collection and it hasn't got that bit on the end, I know it's a 0.5 because I'd never limit it down, ever, ever, ever. I don't want to limit it down to 0.3 and nothing would go through it, right? Paul saying, yeah, Heathrow is horrific. I hate arriving there. It's just miserable. I don't know what it is about Heathrow. And it's like, yeah, it's an amazing airport. It's not an amazing airport at all. We got outside and it just looked like a giant trash can had fallen over on the floor and it was just rubbish everywhere. We left Bahrain where it literally is clean enough to eat off the floor. Same as Dubai, same as all the other airports we've been to. When you get back to Heathrow and it's like, right, they dumped all the rubbish here. So here's a question for you, James. What blue roll do you get? I got really bad rolls that just kept tearing. Also, apparently you can get rolls that have detergent of some kind. I go to Booker to get the blue rolls. And I always buy the 2-ply, and there's I buy the most expensive one. What I've learned over the years is if you buy the single ply, people pull off twice as much, so you lose double the waste. And if you get the double ply, you can get one. The 2-ply, you can get single ones. I get the one that's a bit more expensive because when I tear it, I don't get all the dust come off it. If I buy the cheaper blue roll, and I think we buy a box of 6 for £16, which seems a lot. And the cheaper one is £8. But the problem is, when you tear the £8 one, you get all the fluff come off. And I don't want that going up in the air or landing in moulds, landing in butters, landing in chocolate. I get mine from Booker. And we'll buy kind of 3x6 at a time. So, any advice using cream cheese powder for Ganesh? Yes, I do like cream cheese powder. I would spoon it in. What I would do, I wouldn't put it into the cream because it would hydrate. What we will do is we will weigh the cream and the chocolate, and at the point that I put the cream in, before I blend it, we'll put the cream cheese powder on top and then blend that in. But it's very soluble, so you can add more, and you can add more to taste. Cream cheese powder, I would treat it like a seasoning. So if you want to do a little bit more, it's going to be absolutely fine. It's got no water content to it, so it's not going to change. It will change the consistency, the thickness of a ganache, but it won't change the shelf life too dramatically of it at all. So many people looking for natural colours here in Wisconsin. It's hard. I've got some. We're doing some work with another supplier on naturals. We've tried it. And I think the ones that we did and have are very, very good, but they're not the biggest sellers. And you've got to convince the whole market when people want nice, bright, vibrant colours. It's very difficult to convince them to go over to a natural. Like we got the blue, the spirulina, the natural blue, which has its moments and it sells, but it's, you know, in terms of the list of 78 colours, it's probably right down there at the bottom, right? Any advice for adding whiskey to Ganache? Yeah, do it in 2 parts. I don't use alcohol, so I can only explain from my perspective of having worked in kitchens. With whiskey, we would take one amount and boil it down, so it's super concentrated, and then we do half that amount to put in as a liquid, followed by the concentrate, so you get that big flavour, right? I think the challenge with adding spirits to Ganache is calculating the water content. Whereas if you boil it down, one, you'll take away the alcohol. Secondly, you'll boil off the water, which will just give you a bit more of a stable Ganache, right? So I think with spirits, it's always better just to reduce it down. When I say reduce it down, boil it, flame it off, and then boil it down by half or by 2/3, right? Ruth, James, your colours are amazing and smell so good. Ruth, your book is amazing and loads of people are doing recipes on it. If you've had a look at the Chocy Chat page, everybody's got the candy making. There's lots of people that got the candy making book. Ruth, I would like to ask you whether I can recreate one of the recipes. I'll message you separately. I'd like to recreate one of the recipes as a post for either the water fondant or the cream fondant, but we'll have a separate chat about that. So, question with who and fresh cream products. It will be mainly fridge temperatures. The dates will be concerned about. Sure, I don't understand the question, mate. Rewrite that one. Will it English? Let me answer these questions, sweetheart. Have you got?
I would like to say something.
you'd like to say or wants to say something, don't let me. Caramel and creams. We're going to answer that question. Quick.
By the way,
Questions.
thank you for the lovely messages, especially Mother Rika, and thank you for your support as well.
Thank you for your support, everybody.
Thank you for your lovely messages.
We love Chocky
about
Chat Crew, don't we?
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
And thank you so much, everybody. See you. Bye, Dad's Cocoa Butters.
Just came on to do an advert. Will English toffee?
Try not to get a refund.
Will English toffee bits break down or change texture if they're mixed into plain chocolate? No, they won't, caramel and creams. They won't change texture, providing they are fully enrobed. So if you did bars and you put English toffee on the back of it, they're hygroscopic, they will absorb water. If they are bound and coated within that mix and there's nothing poking through the surface, they'll be absolutely fine. And they will stay quite crispy as well, right? The English toffee is the one that you would shatter, right? But it needs to be fully bound, yeah. Oh, that's clever. I made myself some notes. I have an app that works out what the bestseller was. Brilliant stuff. Tried the silk block for tempering last week. I'm never going back to seeding. Nettie, you're welcome. I use the blocks, right? Let me explain something, because I think I'm waiting on them coming back to me, but I think that Micro has been fully discontinued, and I said that I would make these until the business has got the stock back, but it looks like Micro is discontinuing. And I know people say, well, this is really easy to make yourself. I don't think it's easy to make yourself, because I think, you know, making chocolate's easy, making your own butter is easy. I think making your own sugar is easy. I think all of it's easy. It's just whether you want the inclination to, and you've got the equipment to do it, right? I use these on the class in Bahrain, and what we did discover is the bigger the volume of chocolate, the less you needed of 1%. And what that meant was, once we got over 3 kilos, if we did 0.5%, it was more than enough to seed that chocolate, right? Whereas when we did 500 grams, we did need 1%. So it's kind of exponential, isn't it? That like the bigger that amount. So I think that the 80-gram block, instead of being able to do 8 kilos, I think you could probably get nearer to 12 kilos if you were doing 3 kilo chunks at a time, right? Melted chocolate to 34, great 1% of this in, stir it through, give it a good, if you need to, stick blender, warm it a tiny bit with a hairdryer. The moment it reaches 32 degrees, milk, white, dark, ruby, caramelised, whatever chocolate you've got, melt it to 34, add the 1%, grate it very finely. You grate it onto paper and then tip it in, whereas if you do it over the bowl, any static, it will go off into the atmosphere and you'll have a lovely kind of Micro looking face. Stir it in, and once that chocolate reaches 32, Shell, you're ready to go, right? It's good stuff. And I use them on the class, and people bought lots of them, and it's just an easier way of seeding. Is good at the beginning as a lesson so that you understand what tempering is, but it's a bit like making a cake from scratch and then buying the sponge mix. If all you ever did is buy the sponge mix, you don't know how to make the cake. If you learn how to make the cake first properly, then you save time by buying the sponge mix and you change it a little bit. It's still nothing as good as making the sponge from scratch, but the principle of seeding is very good because it teaches you the basics and to recognise what's happening with tempering and beat crystals and temperatures, and being accurate. Once you know how to seed, if there's an easy way to temper, you kind of want to find it. I think the ultimate is Easy Temper, who I'm going to contact to see if they'll come on and have a chat with us. I think that'd be a nice conversation, because I think Julie's or Jill, I think she's a chemist, right? So I like chemistry, fascinated by chemistry and crystals and all that kind of stuff. So with EHO and fresh cream products, it's mainly fridge temperatures and dates they're concerned about going into eclairs and stuff, as well as normal things. Yeah, fresh cream, any products that were filled with fresh cream, EHO's required us to dispose of them after 24 hours, which is why you don't find fresh cream things, or they have stabilisers put into them. which is normally a modified starch, gets put into the cream when it's whipped, so that they can get past that. It's not just fresh cream; it's another product, right? But 24 hours, even at room temperature or chilled, yeah, we had to dispose of it, right? So. Those airbrushes are $50. We're thinking of putting them on the website, so yeah, just hold your horses, right? I think Temper.Temper, thanks for sending the rose gold sample with my order. It's a great colour. It is a nice colour. I like the rose gold. It's a really nice colour. That was inspired by our trip to Petra to go and see all the dwellings that are carved into the rock, and it's called the Rose City. And we came back and said, I'm going to make a rose gold. So I did. I'm working on a neon blue, but I haven't told Miss So Sassy yet, so she doesn't know that I'm working on a new colour, and it's a neon blue, and it's really, really nice. And I did showcase it a couple of months back, but I just got to wait for the right time to say, can I do a new colour? I don't think she's watching, so it's going to be okay. It was Leanne, actually. I thought it was Lisa. Lisa, my apologies. It was Leanne. Sydney Williams. It sounds to me like you've got the wrong needle in. And I looked at that. But if you get any problems, Sydney, if you get any problems, show me how it's spraying. Because the splats on the picture that you sent doesn't really help. Just do a little video of what happens. I want to be able to see that picture. I want to be able to see what it looks like when you spray, and then I'll be able to tell you what size needle you've got. I'll be able to figure it out quickly. Tosca chocolates, yeah, that's the way. AliExpress. Bonbon Nut Grown. Hello, Chocky Chat crew. How's your holiday in Bahrain? Mostly work. We did go on holiday. Well, I was teaching a class, a very good class, an amazing class. And then we had a little bit of a break, and we don't sit down, we don't stop. We're busy people. We truly are not the ones to go and sit on a beach, and it's not us. We find stuff to do. We went off visiting everywhere. We did road trips. We just did all the fun stuff. We were out early in the morning and just going and getting stuff done, right, and meeting people. And we went to expos, food shows, all sorts of bits and pieces. So amazing time as usual. Temper.Temper, IKEA for plastic bowls, North America, yes. Oh gosh, I'm so far behind. I'm so far behind on the questions. So chocolate sorcery, next Christmas I'm definitely making fewer products. The range of things I offered was ridiculous to keep up with. Perfect example, do you know, you are better to have like for your fillings, for your boxes, you'd be better to have 8 amazing fillings than 10 average ones, right? Or 12 average ones. I think we get stuck in this loophole of thinking more choice is better. More choice is less quality. More choice is harder control. More choice is more inventory on the shelf. More choice is longer designs. It just gets more and more complicated. And I suppose the golden question is, what do your customers expect? Because if you've got 8 flavours and they like all 8 of them, brilliant. If they don't like the 9th one, there's your problem, right? I also think the art of food, do something simple amazingly well, right? Do something simple amazingly well. Make an amazing caramel. Make an amazing salt caramel. Right? Not just an average, just absolutely amazing one. Rehearse that and look at different things that you could do. What do different salts do? What do different butters do? What do different chocolates do? What do different ratios of cream to sugar do? What do different temperatures, if you take the sugar to 176, to 180, 184, 186, really dark, how does that differ across that? How much salt goes in there? Do something simple amazingly well, and you will always win the game of food. Always, always, always. Harriet, this might sound like an odd question. Where's the best place to get chef's jackets? I Google. The ones we get, they're called Chef Works. I quite like Chef Works products. I just think they're well put together, and they seem to. If I'm honest, the ladies wear, not that I wear the in the restaurants. We always bought the ladies chefs jackets from Chef's Work because they just seem to fit. There are other brands, and I'd have a Google round, but Chef Works, a little bit more money, better product if you ask me. Caramels and creams. Any suggestions for flavourings to mimic cheesecake ganache? Yeah, two options. Yogurt powder is very, very good. If you add, if you did a white chocolate ganache, you make just a standard white chocolate ganache and put citric acid in it, not malic acid. If you do citric acid in there, it will almost mimic cream cheese flavour because it's a tartness, right? So with the heavy fat content of a white chocolate ganache, so we've got the fat from the white chocolate, and we've also got the fat from the cream. You do white chocolate ganache and do citric acid in there, it will almost give you a cream cheesecake. It mimics cream cheesecake. Alternatively, white chocolate ganache, yogurt powder. Dried yogurt powder is really, really nice. And you can add more and get it stronger and stronger and stronger, right? So it's really quite. We used to have a thing in Germany called quark, which is really, really sour, heavily soured cream. The consistency of cream cheese, but really, really, really sour. It reminds me of that. You get the cream cheese powder into white chocolate ganache. So. I got the cream cheese powder from, I think we ordered it from Amazon. There's lots of brands available. I think like with anything, I think you get what you pay for, right? So if you're after a cheap one, it's probably not going to be great. So, college laws in Florida don't allow the use of dairy products because of our warm temperature. You're allowed to make caramels though, right? Some good answers here. You were saying plastic bowls difficult to find in the USA. Try a large Swedish furniture store. Yeah. We've got one, Morrison's. Every time we go by, we come back with an extra stack of these, right? So we got them, they're dotted everywhere, just in case I accidentally run out of bowls, right? Gina's saying, can't wait until a large said Swedish furniture store opens in New Zealand later this year. I was stocking up on containers and cocoa butters when I was last in Europe. Yeah. Is I can see Flying Banana bringing products into Australia. So, I've only just got to the bit where Seren came in and said thank you. Oh, to be a happy child, they are happy. They're really, really happy. I think, Stuart, you have to. I just don't think you can have any fresh cream at room temperature. You can't at all. I wouldn't. I think it's up there in terms of food safety, and in terms of food spoil. I mean, I think the most dangerous thing in a kitchen in terms of food, everybody thinks it's raw chicken. You don't eat raw chicken, so it's not high risk. The highest risk product in a kitchen is, in a commercial kitchen or any kitchen, is milk at room temperature. I've seen it under a microscope at hour 2 and at hour 4 and at hour 8 and hour 16. And once it gets to hour 2, the activity is ridiculous. When you get to hour 4, the microbiological activity, when you get to hour 4 is off the charts. It's absolutely, and at hour 6 and 8 you can visually see what's happening, right? So oh good, Rania didn't hear me say anything about the new colour, so that's close, wasn't it? I think I got away with that. So Erin, yeah, I've just worked that one out. It was Leanne. Sorry, my mistake. Would there be any chance of a holographic cocoa butter? Never seen one. Would look fab on a bonbon. Not sure it's possible. It's difficult because they would blend. It's difficult because they would blend. What you probably need to do is I toyed with the idea, and we had one that was called Chameleon, or I trialed one that was called Chameleon, and it was basically a blue and a green, so that when we sprayed it, depending on what you were looking at and the light, the problem is every time I stirred it or when I hand painted it, I could get that design. When I airbrushed it, the design, I couldn't get that. So I think that if it's possible, I'll find a way. But I still got 1,000 ideas in my mind of what I'd like to do with some of the colours, and additional colours that we'd like to do. You just got to hold horses and not get too carried away. What I don't want to do is have 160 colours that I've got to produce, because it's hard enough doing 70, right? Plus the other products that we do. So it is possible. I just haven't found the way. It is possible to do hologram. It's possible to do hand painting, but airbrushing agitated it so much that you didn't get the effect, and that was what bothered me. I need to be able to hand paint and airbrush, right, and sponge. So aftermarkets, is it better to offer pick and mix or pre-packed bonbons? You're back for another chat. What would you like to say? I need to answer questions. I'm so far behind. You don't want to say anything. You just come to listen. Is it better to offer hand-picked or pre-packed? I think you have to do a mix of both. I can tell you, having talked to lots and lots of businesses, and the field is quite divided depending on the market and the location, right? If you get people to pick their own, the queue is a little bit longer. You can. If you're the tablet, take tablet. Go.
Thank you. I just want to do it
Past your bedtime, you know that.
Yeah, I know.
They're homeschooled at bedtimes. If they're drawing and it's creative, it's not bedtime. It's a good rule, right? Why should you have to stop and go to bed right in the middle of doing something? We do the same thing with Sophia in here. If she's in the zone and she's painting and she's doing all the things that she wants to do, it's not for me to come and stop it. It's for me to encourage it, right? That's my firm belief. Nothing worse than being told to stop right when you're in the groove of doing something, right? We kind of shouldn't do that to children. The bell goes and they all have to stop. Anyway, as I was saying, if you get them to pick their own, a queue could form, which is a good thing, but it'd take longer to serve them. Or you get, like, everybody wants one variety of one chocolate and you sell out really, really quickly. I think you have to offer a shot of both, right? Is to have some pre-boxed ones that you know are family favourites, people will buy, because they're quick sells, as in it's a quick exchange. Here's your box, I take the money, or the card reader, and they go on their way. Whereas the pick and mix, they'll stand there and kind of dither for quite a long time. So having spoken to a lot of businesses, I mean, Paula's a good one that used to do the markets. I think Erin does Erin do markets? I think that, no, Paula does markets. Paula's a good one to ask, because she went through this trial and error of doing pre-made boxes and then pick and mix, and I think it just changed on different markets, right? One week it was this, one week it was another. So Simon Woodrow there, how are you, mate? You busy, another busy boy. Very. Cocoa Boutique, how am I? I'm very good. So Dolce Mario, yeah, Paula's just answered there, Scroll Pass. I've tried both and now just do pre-packed. I found the pick and mix difficult, as you need all the packaging and the bonbons loose, so it takes lots of time and more room to transport. That's an interesting point, right? I'm planning to try to make draggies. Do you mind giving me some advice? I'm not going to answer draggies here, we've got the machine. We're going to be launching a course very, very shortly on that. Not expensive one either. So, but it will be a video. So, strategies it's not difficult, but it comes with some rules, and you need some patience, because the speed of that drum and so many things can affect how much chocolate mounts up on rotation. It'd take me a long time to explain it here, but we have got a class coming out on that shortly. So, Cheltenham Chocolate saying, personally found the pick and mix equation creates much more interaction and purchases, but yeah, it's more time consuming and you're left with some unwanted ones. So, there's an interesting one. I also found the sales were no better, if not better, when pre-packed. Yeah. See, I said it's a mixed field. It really depends demographically where you are and the type of market. You know, some people see them and like them and want to have a discussion. However, I would say throughout all of this, if you're doing markets, I talk about you need to go and find your customers, right? And you find your customers by going to markets, because if you go to a market and they buy your product, it's likely you'll get a bounce back purchase via a website or a store. At markets, people will want to, you know, if you're at a market on your own, you don't have time to talk to people. If you're at a market and you've got other people assisting you, they can do the packaging while you have those conversations. And the conversations that you have with customers are lasting memories, and they will walk away and remember that conversation. Because we had a lady come and see us today, and she's like, oh, I've never met a chocolatier, and it's just instant conversation. Tell me what you do, tell me all about it, I've got lots of questions. So markets are fantastic if you've got the time to sit and talk to them, or stand and talk to them whilst they're doing their selection. Interacting with customers is the easiest way to get them to come back, right? Leanne, no, Shine and Decor, that's not me, that's Callie. I don't have a Shine and Decor class. We got the airbrush class, fillings class, beginner class, there's an advanced class, and there's a hands-on class here with me. So, oh, the raw chicken. Why? Don't wash chicken. Don't wash chicken. It's covered in feathers. Wash it, but you don't need to wash it, right? All you'll do is just spread more bugs around your whole kitchen. Love the pick and mix. 5 deep waiting to be served, and created lots of interest. There is something about creating a queue in a market. However, if the queue gets too long and people are dropping off the back end of it and saying I can't be bothered to wait, that is a problem, right? Because they're not going to come back in 10 minutes. They will go, right? So Stuart's got an interesting one here. The people in the shop like to pick or chef's choice, but at the markets all boxed up. Interesting. Hello from Malta. This is Neil. Neil's a very talented chef in Malta. Does make some amazing chocolates. Does some amazing. Neil does some amazing pulled sugar works. I'm going to repost some of his stuff actually, because you should go and have a look at his page. It's Vassallo 471. Gonna have a look at the chocolates he makes. Gonna have a look at the sugar patisserie work that he does. It's just, yeah. Yeah, Chocolate Escapade. Our pick your own case gets so much attention at markets. The display really catches the eye. People walk past bonbons and they go like, "What are they edible? Can you eat them?" No, I just thought I'd stand here with some marbles that you can't eat. Yes, they're edible. I'm just going to put a badge on a market saying, yes, they're edible. No, I don't eat them. Yes, I eat lots of chocolate. No, you can't have a free one. Rania, I love standing up and talking to customers. I tell you what Rania is very, very good at. Rania has Mrs. So Sassy, she's got the ability, when there's a queue, or when there's a crowd, right, around the stand, Rania is very, very good at recognising who's going to buy and who's going to talk, right? So she can end one conversation here of somebody that's just given us their life story of everything. And meanwhile, Rania's taking money because that she knows that person is buying. That's a subtle art. I think it's like me knowing where and remembering where everybody's from. I think the more you do markets, I'm sure there are people here that will say, when you do markets, you can tell who's looking and you can tell who's buying. And you know when to stand up and you know when to say sat down, right? Not everybody that's walking by is purchasing, but there is something in their eye that tells you they're going to buy a lot of chocolate, right? Jeddah gifts for your colours. Can I use it directly or need some process? You need to melt them. You need to melt the colours. There's lots of information on our website on what to do. Yes, you'd need to melt them. If you melt them over 33.8, you'd need to retemper them. If you melt them slowly, if you melt them very, very slowly and you can control the temperature and kind of keep them under 32, they kind of be ready to use. But there's lots of information on our website. There's lots of information on the Chocy chat as well on how to use the colours. And I did say I'm going to do a live this weekend that I can save. I will do another live probably Saturday, if not Sunday afternoon, and it's going to be tempering cocoa butter just with the little water bain-marie, because I want to save that and get that loaded up onto YouTube, along with some other bits and pieces. So Paula's got a good solution there. I've got a box wrapped in cellophane so people can see the chocolates on the market stall. What I would say is the sales at the market being dropped by a third to half over the last 12 months. Yeah, it's tight here in the UK. Yeah, chocolate escargot. We do get tired of hearing, oh, they are too pretty to eat. Yeah, I know. We've had people ask us if we cover them in plastic to make them shiny. It's like, no, that's just raw talent. That's just... How long do you think it would take to individually wrap each bomb? I just know. Can we talk about planning for Easter at some point, James? Yeah, we do that next week. I'm going to try and get a guest on next week anyway. So, yeah, Easter's a little bit far away, but yeah, we can have a chat about doing Easter. And I think, you know, Valentine's, easy seller, right? But you need to be advertising now. You need to be getting that put it in front of an audience now, right? Easter and Mother's Day, much better sales. Much better sales available for that. So, what can I do to avoid chocolate sticking in the mould? If chocolate's sticking in the mould, then the chocolate's not tempered properly. Chocolate's in temper when it has an abundance of beta crystals, and then so either put the beta crystals in there using a block, using a cocoa butter block, or use silk, or use seed. If we temper it right, because it's got enough beta crystals in it, and we use it at the right temperature, what the beta crystals will do, they are long, thin strands, and I've said this so many times. We use the word retraction, which most people, when I use the word retraction in students, are like, I don't know what that means. How does a chocolate retract? What we mean is shrink. If we fill a mould with chocolate and we shell, and it drops in temperature, once it drops below 14 degrees, it shrinks. That chocolate shrinks, which is why the shell comes out. The faster you can make that temperature drop, the better it retracts, because it's quite brittle, right? So the chocolate needs to dry and then be left at room temperature 5-10 minutes, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 minutes. And then we put it into a cold space and drop it below 14, and they will all retract. They will all shrink and the shells will come out. Then you fill them, then you cap them, then you get them out of the mould and you get them sold and get them gone, and then you go through the process of painting again. So if chocolate is sticking in the mould, it's to do with a tempering issue, or it could be a temperature issue. So Mrs. So Sassy's in and answering things. I showed someone my shell designs today and they said they were some kind of sorceress. We are all full, and let me explain one thing, and I'm going to say this again, right? We are all, as chocolatiers, Chocy chats, with social media, we are so fully immersed in what we see as chocolate. So we see different posts, different ideas, different styles. We see absolutely all of it. The majority of the public have never seen the bonbons that we do, because they don't search for it. So they go to a market and they walk past and go, oh, hello, we're selling marbles. Are they edible? Can we eat them? Yeah, they're made of chocolate. Oh, right. How do you get them shiny? Do you paint them? Yeah. Do you cover them in plastic? Yeah. So if anybody does markets, I'm sure you are absolutely exhausted from hearing, are they edible? Can you eat them? You're selling chocolate. Are they edible? For us, we're fully immersed. For most of the public, it's still a very, very new thing. That's what you've got to. That's what you've got to kind of take advantage of, is a big banner that says, yeah, they're edible. These are chocolates. These are the most colourful, beautiful, shiny chocolates you've ever seen in your life. I am so tired of saying to people, yeah, they're edible. We had a lady visit us today for something, and I showed her the chocolate. She went, well, I've never seen anything like that. Are they edible? Rennie and I just looked at each other like, oh. Why did I show you chocolate that's not edible? Unbelievable. Anyway, it has gone chocolate sorcery. It has gone 9:30, 9:35. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna drink some Ribena because I think my voice is going. It's lovely to be back. It's lovely to be back in my natural habitat. We're fully stocked up. The classes are all back online. What else do I need to tell you? We're going to keep going with the silk blocks because it's a good solution for people. It's a very good solution for people, and it works because I use them. I use them, and if it works for me, it'll work for you. I guarantee it. What else? Have an amazing week. The world's still flexing its muscles a little bit, so can you just be kind to people and be considerate, and just be a good Chocy Chat crew person. It's surround yourself with positive people, and you'll see, you want your world to change. Wake up earlier, surround yourself with positive people, and don't have time for negative, right? Because I think it just eats away at you. This is a tough job, Chocy. The costs staggering, constantly going up. I think this is the one little space where we can all be us, right? Have you got questions? Fire them across. If you know the answer, answer them. I'll see you all in a week's time, but it's so nice to be back at Chocy Chat headquarters. It really, really is. 4 years in June. We need to plan something, then we should get Seren on the planning team to see what we're going to do for June, 4-year anniversary. It's going to be epic, I know that. And it has to be in this studio too, right? Have a good weekend. Be nice to people, especially those closest to you, right? Have a good week.